get 3 points is clear.
Yes.
Eh? They go watch match.
Okay, what do you want me to do about it?
Give us light.
That's the only thing you've been saying since you came into my office.
Maybe your work be that.
No, it's my work, but see.
Our government fit do their work if we self do our own work.
Hello. The rising trend in the abuse of cough syrups with codeine substance has become a source of concern, and the abusers may have crossed the line of shamelessness. And that's our focus tonight. Good evening and welcome to the program. The major source for recreational abuse, drug abuse, is over-the-counter medication like codeine cough syrups, which are legal and usually viewed as harmless, affordable, and therefore cannot be dangerous. The major ways of abusing cough syrups is by intentionally overdosing on them or mix them with alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic sodas, creating intoxicating mix. With the availability and acceptability or accessibility of cough syrups, many Nigerian youths, especially ladies, are having a field day with naive assumption that the substance is safe. Experts warn that those involved in the abuse of the substance over a period of time can develop physical and psychological addiction, which means they would suffer withdrawal symptoms if they try to stop it or reduce their consumption of the drug. This situation will certainly lead to rehabilitation. Worried about the dangers associated with the cough medicine abuse, the federal government recently banned the importation, production, distribution, and sale of cough syrups with codeine substance and directed the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria to supervise the recall for labeling and audit trailing of all codeine-containing syrups in the country. On Weekend File today, we will examine the prevalence of codeine abuse, major sources of acquiring the substance, efforts by the authorities to contain the ever-increasing trend, and the rehabilitation of those already trapped by mild opioid, the main ingredient of codeine syrup that made it a target for abuse. My name is Kirian Umayo. Good evening and, of course, welcome to the program. And thanks again for joining us. From here, the news is next. The APC local government congresses took place across the country earlier today. Reports from states say the congresses were conducted in an orderly and peaceful atmosphere. Larry Balahassan compiled a report from some states.
In Adamawa State, the election was free, fair and credible, with 55 delegates drawn from the 11 wards that participated. From Benue State, the congresses took place in various local government areas, followed by a meeting of stakeholders, during which an agreement was reached to adopt consensus in all local governments where party members affirmed the candidates.
What we have adopted here in Benue State is to sit down and talk amongst ourselves and agree on who gets what and who doesn't get what. And to a large extent, it's a model that has worked.
From Kano, about 1,400 delegates participated in the local government congress in 44 local governments. It was adjudged a hitch-free congress. From Ogun State comes a report that APC held a peaceful local government congress across the 20 local government areas of the state. The state governor, Ibikunle Amosun, expressed satisfaction with the congress.
I'm happy and thrilled, so we really cannot wait for all the congresses and even our ultimate convention to take place. so that we can now prepare for the general election.
In Abuja, Lauri Bala Hassan, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress local government congresses held in the 20 local government areas of Lagos State with huge turnout of people. Ken Egbeluge has a situation report on that.
Lagos State has a total number of 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas where the Congress of the All Progressive Congress were held. A visit to Mushin, Bariga, Shomolu, and Lagos Island showed that the exercise was peaceful. NTA News crew also observed large turnout at the various centers. Some of the party faithful said the Congress is a true reflection of the party's determination to deepen democracy in the country.
You can see what has happened here today. It's violence-free. It's as simple as that. That shows we are coordinated.
We have provided an atmosphere free of any rancor. And you can see for yourself, how people have actually expressed themselves.
It was a successful experience, and exercise can be said to be very, very democratic.
The APC Local Government Congress was held to elect new executives to run its affairs at the third tier of government. Meanwhile, there were reported cases of violence in Agege local government area of the state. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
In the meantime, counting of votes at the APC Ekiti governorship primary election is ongoing. Salihu Abdullahi reports that the election, which had over 2,000 delegates participating, has been adjudged orderly and peaceful by the APC stakeholders in the state.
To senatorial districts, delegates conducted themselves in a peaceful manner to choose the candidate for the governing All Progressives Congress under the watchful eyes of the electoral officials. The strategy adopted to ensure a credible exercise received commendation from the aspirants and delegates.
Much better security arrangement and a much more transparent process.
My expectation that whoever emerges at the end of the exercise will receive the support of all the aspirants.
We should all come together to make sure that our party wins the next election.
Very happy because it will be like the last week, no any wahala today.
And everybody is given free and fair to exercise his own franchise, to choose the correct candidate that will deliver a state for APC.
I have seen a very good voting system here today. The voting system went smoothly, as far as I'm concerned.
As at the time of this report, the processes of collating results was in progress. 32 aspirants took part in the exercise. In Ado Ekiti, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And now away from APC congresses, Nigeria is often referred to as a third world country. Well, that's because, amongst other reasons, the nation's infrastructure is still not at par with developed countries. But that narrative is perhaps on its way to being shelved, especially with President Muhammadu Buhari championing the course towards infrastructural development. Joseph Johnson reports that the Minister of State, Power, Works and Housing, Suleiman Hassan Zarma, while on inspection tour of projects in the 3 sectors in the north-central states, called on contractors to speed up work with emphasis on delivering quality jobs.
It is no longer news that delivering some government-owned projects in stipulated time is sometimes frustrated by the overused phrase, lack of funds. But the Minister of State to Power, Works and Housing, Suleiman Zarma, says they are upping the game in that direction, as 3 trillion naira has been budgeted for infrastructure.
It is not going to be a litany of abandoned projects. We will complete all the projects that we meet and will continue on our own projects. We are insisting that our artisans and craftsmen should be adequately equipped to deliver very good houses.
The primary essence of the National Housing Program is to provide affordable housing for Nigerians, but on the flip side, create an activity. Now, the number of persons on each site, ranging from suppliers to traders and people handling different businesses to add value to their artisanship, underscores the importance the federal government attaches to the program. And of course, the smile emanating from the economic empowerment it brings to the locals like Idris is said to be profoundly gratifying. For them, the continuation of this program cannot be overstated.
I have a wife and 5 children in my house, which I'm feeding them through this project.
I thank God for the President Buhari, for him to initiate this kind of project and for me to be a beneficiary.
Diversification of the economy cannot be complete if there are no accessible roads and steady power supply. In the past, roads were constructed, but now they are being built, the minister says. From Kogi to Kwara and Niger states, the team made their way to different project sites to ascertain the level of work done. Most of them are at various stages of completion. There are hopes that poor infrastructure may soon be a thing of the past. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Thank you, Joseph. Traditional rulers in Imo State have commended the diversification policy of the Buhari-led administration in the agricultural sector. This follows the impact of the policy on the socio-economic well-being of their subjects. And this is coming as royal fathers keyed into crop production by establishing multi-million naira cassava farm covering 200 hectares in their domain. Musa Babaliu was there.
This 2,000-hectare cassava farm belongs to traditional title holders in Imo State. The farm was established primarily to encourage their subjects on the need to embrace agriculture and key into the federal government diversification policy. The farm, which was established in 2016, received support from the federal government, West Africa Agricultural Productivity Program, as well as the World Bank.
Agriculture is part of the culture of Nigerians. And we thought it wise that it is the role, one of the roles of the traditional ruler to protect the culture of our people.
West Africa Productivity Program in Nigeria, which supported the royal fathers with over 2,000 bundles of cassava stem, said they will participate in the next phase of its intervention program.
WAP Nigeria will continue to support your efforts, not only in the area of cassava production, but also in cassava processing, value addition, marketing of cassava and cassava products locally and internationally.
As the traditional rulers look forward to establishing cassava processing center in the state, they also declared their support for President Muhammadu Buhari's effort towards addressing the challenges affecting agricultural activities in the country. From Owerri, Imo State, Musa Baba Ali, NTA News.
Chief of Training and Operations, Nigeria Air Force Air Vice Marshal Nuruddin Abiodun Balogun says the graduation of the first set of students on Super Mushak aircraft is another milestone in capacity development of the force. This was at the graduation of students for courses 43 and 45. Haman Jabani reports.
The Super Mushak is a military trainer, light attack aircraft with anti-tank missiles that can operate from unprepared airstrips and rough airfield even in hostile conditions.
The Super Mushak aircraft also affords better opportunity of training fighter pilots that could be subsequently deployed to L-39 Alpha jets and Super Tucano aircraft.
Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Air Force Air Vice Marshal Nuruddin Abiodun Balogun explained that the graduation of the 18 students pilot course 43 and inauguration of course 45 are indications of the commitment the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, is given to capacity development through robust and result-oriented training for enhanced professional performance.
School is not at any time dormant. We get the resources in terms of human resources. As some are graduating, others are supposed to replace because without such a process, the system cannot survive.
The students are expected to undergo further training on high-performance aircraft so that the Nigerian Air Force will have more pilots to deploy to various theaters of operations across the country. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says arresting and prosecuting nation's treasury looters and oil thieves are patriotic obligations that his administration will remain committed to. This was part of his message to the passing out parade of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Detective Superintendent's Course 7 held at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. And here is Hassan Lawal Shetima with the story.
Beyond the ceremonial commissioning of these 314 cadets of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission Detective Superintendents is the challenge of killing corruption before corruption kills Nigeria. The president, who was represented by Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris, therefore challenged personnel of the EFCC to be courageous, brave and determined in carrying out their obligations, stressing that they should under no circumstance relent even when corruption fights back.
The fight against corruption, as envisaged by Mr. President, is what you are called today to join. You must be professional and brave in the battlefield. You must be courageous in dealing with corrupt officials of government and their collaborators.
President Buhari further demanded of them professionalism anchored on thorough, evidence-driven investigations, respect for human rights, and assertiveness in the course of prosecution of suspects. The acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, cautions Nigerians stay clear of all corrupt practices, emphasizing the renewed commitment of the Commission to salvage Nigeria from the shackles of corruption.
We want every support. We want to mobilize every Nigerian to join the fight against corruption, because every Nigerian has a responsibility to fight corruption.
The course that lasted for over 13 months availed the participants opportunity to acquaint themselves with global best practices in curtailing financial crimes. In Kaduna, I am Hassan Lawal Shetima, NTA News.
In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari says the grievances and incessant strikes by staff of universities will be addressed to accelerate educational development in Nigeria. President Buhari said this in his message to the combined convocation of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, looking at the repercussions of industrial actions on development of university education. President Buhari said the demands of the staff are germane and gave assurances that his administration will soon come up with modalities of resolving grievances without resulting in a face-off to attain stability and balance in the system. Represented by Director with National Universities Commission, Dr. Gerardo Kuma, the president said government is looking into the operations of agencies in the education sector to find solutions to the problems militating against their desired impact, especially in the university system. Wife of the president, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, felicitates with the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Bello Dambazau, on his turbaning as the first Baradin Kano by the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II. State House correspondent Ali Kabir is with the report.
The felicitation was coming at a grand reception organized in honor of the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Bello Dambazau, shortly after he was banned as Baradan Kano, and was attended by the wife of the president, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, and other dignitaries from all walks of life. While congratulating him, his family, and the entire Kano Emirate Council, the wife of the president called on Baradan Kano to use his wealth of experience in protecting and preserving the cultural heritage of his people, as well as to promote national integration.
On behalf of my family, I wish him a very successful leadership. And also, my special thanks goes to the Emir of Kano and the Executive Governor of Kano State for endorsing and also recognize one of their sons for all his contributions, that is national contributions. We hope that he will extend, all the emirs should extend their recognition, to women in northern Nigeria.
The new Baradan Kano explained that he will not relent in maintaining the spirit of service to humanity and the nation as a whole in order to justify the confidence reposed in him.
do the best I can to ensure that I work harder in order to better the life of Kano citizens and Nigerians as a whole.
The wife of the president has since returned to Abuja. In Kano, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Inculcating in the younger generation the virtues of hard work, discipline, and integrity through mentorship is a strategic instrument that will guarantee raising a crop of credible leaders and citizenry that will secure the nation's future. This formed the basis of a discourse by a group of concerned women who consider early mentorship as key to sustaining morality to promote national development. Momso Damian Date has that report.
The story of 1,000 miles, they say, begin with a step, giving credence to what these women are doing. Recycling waste bottles and other items to enhance their creative capabilities and also make money for self-reliance.
We want people to actually be able to do more and not feel that there's less dignity because you're doing a skill by hand. So that was why this started.
It doesn't end there, as they gather to learn what it requires mentally, intellectually, and socially to manage themselves as mothers, wives, career women, and professionals who are saddled with multiple roles. The mentors are optimistic that to consistently inculcate in younger people virtues of honesty, integrity, and hard work will enable them attain their full potential and provide workable solutions to critical societal challenges for overall development.
Women have been talking for a long time, have been shouting for a long time. I think it's time for there to be a strategic move for men to understand that this country is made up of both men and women, and we're the ones that keep the home.
This mentorship, they say, is key to discovering hidden qualities in individuals, encourage self-esteem and actualization for the good of the society. Momsa Damian Dati, NTA News.
Now, you are watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. Now, codeine is a classified opiate with high potential for addiction and is strictly on prescription, used medically as pain reliever and cough suppressant. But many prefer to abuse the substance in order to get high and experience the feeling of relaxation, euphoria, and drowsiness. You will get to know more about this in our correspondence report coming from across the nation, and that is next on the program. Keep it here with us.
The smartphone network.
The federal government of Nigeria has directed the Department of Petroleum Resources, in line with its regulatory oversight function of the oil and gas industry, to embark on the recovery of all debts owed to the Federation by exploration and production companies. Consequently, all concerned companies are strongly advised to take necessary steps to offset all the outstanding payments due on or before 25th May 2018, or be sanctioned accordingly by the federal government of Nigeria. Signed, DPR Management.
Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem.
For the three put
You are welcome, sir.
As usual, yeah?
You take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
No other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry? That's the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Mobu to come to chocolate rice of made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made.
Correct.
And how they are cook it.
Correct.
Homegrown rice are good for your health. It boosts our economy and give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
I think that for the first time in a long time in my experience, a news organization like the NTA goes out on its own to really go and find out what is going on in terms of development. All other organizations, including you, are always there when things don't work. But I think this is a departure from the past. This is, I think, what investigation and investigative journalism will be. And so I'm delighted to be here.
Well, thank you for staying with us up to this moment. The United Nations World Drug Report of 2014 ranked Nigeria the fourth country in the world with most widespread use of illegal substances. A worrisome dimension is the intensity of codeine-based cough syrup. The federal government recently took a drastic measure to stem the tide. Chimdemani BC in this report takes a look at codeine addiction, health implication, and the federal government's ban.
Codeine is a narcotic prescription pain medication also used in treating cough, diarrhea, or other ailments, meant to be taken in prescribed dosages. But because of its opiate nature, which is addictive, cough syrups containing codeine has become a favorite for many who want to get high, an increasing trend among youths as young as 14 years and women, especially in the northern part of the country. With this comes serious health implications.
This year alone in our teaching hospital, I've admitted close to 5 people. The last one was a 17-year-old young man who came with a stroke, and at the end of the day, after much probing, we found out that it was just drugs, tramal, codeine, and a mixture of others.
It affects the brain a lot, and you find out at the end of the day, particularly the substances that cause dependence. At the end of the day, it can even make this person become, frankly, psychiatric. Kidney disease is a big problem in Nigeria right now, both among the young and the old. And some of them, actually, it is because of abuse.
In reviewing codeine-containing syrup abuse, the Nigerian Senate estimates that more than 3 million bottles of such brand of cough syrup are consumed daily in Kano and Jigawa states. This development led to the ban of production and importation of codeine-containing cough syrups by the federal government. Subsequently, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, moved to shut down some major pharmaceutical companies for their alleged involvement in unethical distribution of codeine.
Pharmacy Council and NAFDAC are meeting with the stakeholders to draw up strategies to mop up all the codeine-containing cough preparations in the system. Thereafter, strategies will be put in place on the disposal.
With the ban in place, how is the demand and availability of such cough syrups in open drug markets and over the counter?
The demand has dropped. Right now, there's not been much change in the price.
The ban is applauded by many, with calls to address open drug markets believed to be responsible for the unwholesome distribution of the medication.
At least our boys, young girls, married women that are taking codeine, at least if they will see codeine, they will not take it again.
What happens to tramadol? What happens to pentazocine? What happens to Refnol? What happens to every other drug that will still give the same effect that codeine is giving? Even if all drugs are out of the market, you understand? People go sniffing glue. Some go as far as sniffing fuel, some go sniffing a lot of things.
Adequate control, monitoring of administration, monitoring of storage, monitoring of stock and where those drugs are going.
More so, they need to do more of enlightenment, enlightenment in local languages, that these people will know the effect of what they are taking.
The implementation of the National Drug Distribution Guidelines, experts say, would go a long way in ensuring the effectiveness of the ban. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Thank you, Chimdima. Now, concern is mounting among key players over the battered image of Kano State as a result of the spate of drug addiction, which placed it among the risk states in the Federation. Fatima Sanusi Karaye examines the phenomenon, efforts to reform the addicts, as well as integrating them into the mainstream of the society.
This is a side every parent dreads to see, youth restrained in chains to protect them from hurting people because they are under the influence of medicaments or other substance they abuse. The drugs commonly abused in Kano are codeine and tramadol. This trend has reached a frightening proportion, and it has pervaded every fiber of the society, as statistics have shown that about 6 out of 10 youth between the ages of 14 and 25 are involved in drug abuse.
But what is disturbing Kano is the abuse of these pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals, I mean drugs meant to cure illness.
These drugs are easily accessible in the Kano open drug market, as Kano is labeled the state with huge selling outfits and can be purchased without prescription. However, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, is taking necessary steps to curtail drug abuse through raiding hideouts of drug users. These 22-year-old and 25-year-old university students are lucky to have found themselves undergoing rehabilitation at the NDLEA Rehabilitation Center. They dropped out of school due to their involvement with codeine and other substances.
I don't like anybody to end up in the situation I know. So it's something that at first you will like it, but it's something that has a negative impact and a very sad ending.
Yes.
So has it affected your studies?
Yeah, of course. It does. Big time.
More disturbing is the involvement of women in their teens as drug addicts, which has continued to give Kano a negative image. This is one of the many hideouts raided by the Kano State Hizba Board. Such prompted the establishment of various reformatory centers.
This is the largest reformatory institute in Kano State. Currently, the center is closed because it is undergoing rehabilitation and upgrade so that it will be able to accommodate more inmates.
So building such kind of center, it will help our youth to be very useful to the society.
There must be strong synergy between parents, stakeholders and government in stamping out this monster.
Well, we're sorry for the abrupt end of that report. Now let's move to Katsina, where there's a report on government's pledge to tackle drug abuse among the youths for a better society. Now, let's hear from Ado Ale Ibrahim.
With the title Phenomenon of Youth Restiveness and Drug Abuse, the workshop had in attendance of government officials, academicians, members of civil societies and youth organizations. Speaker after speaker highlighted negative impacts of drug abuse on the youth, societal challenges and the way out. While addressing participants, Katsina State Governor Alhaji Aminu Bello Masari, represented by Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Mustapha Inwa, said efforts are being made towards partnering with non-governmental organizations so as to reduce the menace in the state.
The workshop gives the state government a sense of encouragement to improve on existing programs and policies to curb the amount of youth effectiveness and drug abuse in the state.
The National Chairman, Peace Builder Security Concept, Malam Wada Maida and Katsina State Coordinator, Ibrahim Katsina, reiterated the importance of mobilizing the youth on dangers of illicit drugs. A cross-section of participants uploaded efforts of Peace Builder Security Concept and Katsina State Government towards providing an avenue to showcase the menace and preventive measures. Adu Ali Ibrahim, NTA News.
From Ilori, Iyabode Olorunshola has a situational report on the rampant abuse of codeine by students of tertiary institutions.
According to recent reports in the media, drug abuse, especially codeine and tramadol, are most trendy in the northern part of Nigeria. Kwara State in the Middle Belt is not left out, as the abuse of codeine is widely used among students who have access to its purchase over the counter, not minding the cost implication.
I've seen my classmates taking codeine actually, and it always has a bad effect on them. Most times when they take codeine, they tend to sleep a lot.
They take drugs because they are depressed. Some of them say because they cannot concentrate without taking drugs, they cannot read.
I'm quite aware that they call it cocoa, and it took me a while before I got to know that they meant codeine. I thought it was palm.
It's good that the government has banned codeine, the importation of codeine, trying to control the influx of codeine into the country. But I don't think that is the solution, because when they don't have codeine, they go to something else. They want to use something else to make them get high. So I think what we really need to do is have a means of creating a massive awareness.
Outside the academic environment, other youth have devised their own way of purchasing the drugs illegally. While on this report, I found this young man staggering and drowsy. He later slept off.
If the drug distribution guideline, as promised by government, is implemented and drugs are in the hands of people that are trained to handle drugs, that is pharmacists, I think this problem will be solved.
The manufacturing facility are permitted, they were permitted to import codeine phosphate that is being abused. We check their records and we also go to the outlets to check. The missing link or the challenge is the distribution, that is the sales outlets.
The state coordinator of NAFDAC says the agency is on a routine monitoring exercise to curb the trend. Iyabode Olorunshola, NTA News.
Well, people are actually commending the federal government for the ban on codeine, and that's the story of Onengia Fineface from Port Harcourt.
The River State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says from January to April 2018, it intercepted 42.540 kilograms of narcotics, including opiates, stimulants, depressants, cannabis, and hallucinogens. 70 drug offenders were also arrested during the period. This figure, the command says, is a far cry from what could have been achieved had it the wherewithal to effectively contain the illicit trend.
Here in River State, because of the problem of militancy, kidnapping, oil bunkering, and so on, you will find out that these activities have a violent undertone. So in order for them to effectively perform such violence, they need to get themselves activated with these substances.
Pharmacists are associating the increased abuse of pharmaceutical products with the increase in crime rates in the state. They say the abuse of codeine and tramadol in the state is also related to the high demand for artificial sexual energy boosters among young people.
A temporary relief from pain, a temporary gratification from sex. Is it worth my liver? Is it worth my kidney? Is it worth my head? Is it worth my life?
Reservations also abound on the efficacy of banning codeine-containing drugs when several alternatives exist.
In some parts of this country, let me tell you most sincerely, they no longer take codeine-containing cough syrup. It's too expensive for them. They have their own formulation. They have access to the codeine powder.
Banning will not solve our problem. It will simply create more jobs for the boys, more money in the pockets of those who should do regulation. So unless we decide to put our foot on ground, political will must come into place. Wrong channels where drugs are found should be shut.
In addition, there is a demand for stricter enforcement campaigns to shut out drugs supply channels and public enlightenment programs to reduce drugs demand and dependency in the country. In Port Harcourt, Onengia Fineface, NTA News.
Lagos State, by virtue of its huge population, has a problem of dealing with drug abuse. And this blatant abuse, especially among the youth, and its attendant problems have become a source of worry, especially to parents. And in this report, Hengino John Adams takes a look at the effect of the socio-economic life of the country.
A young man, about 16, 17, in the campus, and then of course the dad got a call middle of the night. By the time he got to the campus, the son was already held down. When he eventually got to us, knowing his age, which is a policy in our facility, just run a blood and a urine toxicology test, which is a drug test for that person. And then we ran it accidentally. It was positive.
This is what Dr. Maimuna Kadri, a consultant psychiatrist, faces almost every day because of the prevalence of drug abuse in Lagos. She says this trend is common among the most productive segment of the population, which is the youth. With the alarming rate at which the abuse is increasing, the socio-economic development of the state is threatened.
It's sad to know that as early as age 11 to like 45, the social workers, the teachers, the politicians of tomorrow, they are also affected, is within this age range.
With less than 25 standard treatment and rehabilitation centers to cater for the large number of youths who allegedly abuse drugs in the state, Mr. Glenn Pritchard speaks on support strategies.
We collect data from some of the model drug treatment centres that we've supported the Federal Ministry of Health set up. There's 11 such centres, which we have some in Lagos. So we get data from people who present for drug treatment services in those centres.
Stakeholders are of the opinion that collaborative efforts by government, individuals and non-governmental organizations will help in curbing the trend. When this happens, Dr. Kadri will be able to heave a sigh of relief. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And now in Niger State, despite rising cases of drug and substance abuse, only 2 rehabilitation centers are functional, and so says Dauda Mohammed.
The Social Rehabilitation Center, Mina, was conceived and built by the Association of Lady Pharmacists, Niger State chapter in June 1995. Principally, it is meant to rehabilitate clients suffering from mental illness or victims of drugs and substance abuse through medical and occupational therapy. Over the years, successive administrations in the state did not improve or renovate the existing structure, reducing the center's capability to only treating 20 clients, all of them males, due to lack of hostels, adequate security, lack of fencing, and other equipment. In 2017, the Social Rehabilitation Center, Mina, was able to rehabilitate 280 clients. However, recently, the present administration had to intervene by renovating the roof, which was in a dilapidated state.
We've been able to try and fix some of the emergency challenges that the center is facing, like issue of the roofing and some of the training center.
The other recognized rehabilitation center in Mina is the one run by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Niger State Command Head Office, which only caters for drugs and substance abuse victims, and due to its limited facilities, presently only accommodates 7 clients, 6 males and 1 female.
Those young girls not to even go near it because it turns someone into a monster.
They shouldn't even think of doing drugs because they're headed for doom if they try it. That's just the truth. It doesn't pay at all.
Medical experts in the rehabilitation centers are of the opinion that the role of the family, teachers, community leaders, mass media, law enforcement agencies and the government of the day are crucial in reducing the high rate of mental illness and substance abuse in the society. In Mina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And those are correspondence reports from different parts of the country. And our special guest tonight on the program is the Honorable Minister of Health in the person of Dr. Isaac Adewale. Do stay with us.
It's really tough right now. It's hard to expand my business.
Exactly. You know, many farmers depend on me. All these banks saying they don't see my vision.
Good evening, gentlemen. Sorry for interrupting. That's not exactly true.
How do you know?
I'm living proof. Mind if I join you?
Not at all.
Just last year, I planned to expand my hospitality business. It was tough, but I met the right people.
So, who exactly are these people?
My bank, FCMB. Eddie, their bills on the house. I forgot to mention, this is one of our hotels. Have a great night, gentlemen.
With the right guys who believe in your visions, getting to your desired destination is easier and quicker. Let's help you take the next step. FCMB, my bank, and I. All TVs say picture quality, but never mention the most important color, black. It uncovers the hidden details of nature, brings out the richness in all colors, and reveals life. With self-lighting pixels, only OLED TVs make perfect black, and perfect black creates perfect color. LG OLED TV.
All right, with me now in the studio is the Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, yeah. Now, what could have given rise to cough syrup abuse in the country? It's not been this much, but for now, you know, it has become a source of concern, not just to Nigerians, but to government.
Thank you so much for your question. I think the real issue is not the cough syrup, but the codeine inside the cough syrup. And the cough syrup provided young ones and potential addicts with the codeine that they really deserve to or desire. And I think this is due to a multiplicity of factors, societal challenges, unemployment, boredom, curiosity, the age of the social media, and peer pressure. And so all these contribute into making this really a challenging problem for us as a nation.
All right, now about 2 weeks after the federal government had banned the production and importation and distribution of codeine contained cough syrup that contain codeine. Now, would you say that that's been successful? A number of people have also spoken against the ban, saying that some other issues are not considered before the ban.
Well, I think people only consider the ban as the only thing that we've done. Over the years, we've not relented in our effort to address this problem. For over a year, we've been engaging drug distributors. I've visited Aba, visited Onitsha, visited Lagos, settled quarrels, and I've been in touch with the governor of His Excellency, the governor of Kano State, with the intention of regulating drug distribution in the major centers. And the original deadline was 1st of January 2018. But after a lot of pleading and a lot of consideration, we decided to extend this ban finally. And we assured the drug distributors that by midnight, 31st of December this year, we'll put a lid. And anyone found distributing drugs outside the designated centers, we will deal with them.
Now, codeine is an opiate, and it's also a medicinal.
Correct.
Legally speaking,
correct.
It's medicinal.
Correct.
Now, the ban of cough syrups that contain codeine, yes, but are there not other cough syrups that contain other substances that could have the same quality of opiates that could also be intoxicating?
Well, the thing about the cough syrup, there are two sides to it. You either have the expectorant without the codeine or the suppressant with the codeine. What is worrisome to us is that the consumption far outweighs the need in the country. And we do not have a cough epidemic in this country. So why are we taking so much of the cough syrup? Secondly, if you could remember, some years back, the former Minister of Health, late Professor Olukoya Ransome-Kuti, banned or in fact ordered the withdrawal of cough syrup from the essential drug list. Because according to him, you do not need cough syrup to manage cough. You need to look at the cause of the cough, make a diagnosis, and treat appropriately. And suppressing the cough might not even be the appropriate thing to do. But you see, people react in this country. For some years, the cough mixture was over-the-counter thing. Anybody could just go there and pick one. But then by 2013, it was reclassified as a prescription-only drug. And I think this is the catch. If a drug is for prescription only, then it's not supposed to be freely available. And that's why we are looking at the issue of the production, we are looking at the issue of the distribution, and we're also looking at how is it distributed along the line. So all these we are looking at. But before we did the ban, we looked at the distribution. We trained over 1,600 people to detect and manage these challenges. We designated 11 of our tertiary institutions as treatment centers. we're working with many of the state governments in the area of rehabilitation. The ban came because we felt whatever we are doing needed to be upscaled. And you see, for us, you want a dry ground, but you left the tap open. The field will remain wet indefinitely. So what we've done is to close the tap. We suspended the license. We will no longer give you license to bring in codeine. And if you do not have the license, I wonder what we then put in the codeine. And we're also making a lot of other recommendations. The committee will not just relent that we set up in January. We will not just look at the ban. We're also looking into other issues, the issue of advocacy, education. We're looking at managing those who are already addicted and have withdrawal symptoms. We're looking at the issue of monitoring and also making sure that the relevant agencies work together and strengthen their capacity to do their job.
Now, working together is key to this because the rehabilitation of drug-related illnesses is one area Nigeria is lagging behind. From some of the reports that we watched now, we discovered that we don't have any well-equipped rehab center across the nation.
Well, I think that would be too general a statement to make that we do not have any. That's not true. We may not have enough, but we have. And what we need to do is, one, I think as a nation, we need to appreciate what we have. We need to upscale it. We need to have more. And I can tell you the governors' wives are very active and have been encouraged by the reaction of many of our state governments. They're taking it on as a major challenge because we need to save the future of this country. And what is also interesting is the wife of Mr. President is driving some of these initiatives.
Okay, there was this report that some pharmaceutical officers in some companies are also, colluding with the drug dealers to give them even the raw codeine, not even the one in the syrup itself. And if that is true, what are you doing in this connection? Because, of course, I know you're working also with the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria.
Oh, yeah. In fact, the original recommendation to set up the codeine and other related matters working group came from the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. So we're working together. What we need to do is strengthen enforcement and monitoring of these outlets. And if we do this, we will stem the tide. Let me also say clearly, codeine is not the only drug that is abused. There are many others. And that's why we label the committee codeine and other related matters. So it's not just codeine. And we'll soon come out big on tramadol. Anywhere we find it, we'll seize it.
All right, now that these legal impediments, among other problems viewed by observers, has been responsible for Nigeria's inability to have full control of this phenomenon. Is that
legal
true?
Impediment?
Is that true?
No, I'm not aware of any legal impediment. There's none. When the committee submitted its report, we sought for legal advice, and the legal opinion was favorable that the Honorable Minister of Health can ban the issuance of license, can also, in fact, stop the manufacturing outlets from really producing this medication.
Now, there are other substances like tramadol and others, that are also part of the drugs that are being abused. Are you doing anything in that regard?
Well, that's why I said we're looking beyond just codeine. The abuse issue is, abuse of drugs is a global phenomenon. We're working with the UN Agency for Drug Control, so we are not working alone. And people assume that, oh, codeine abuse is prevalent in the north, is a national problem. But what we've also noticed is that farmers abuse tramadol. They take it to beat pain, they take it to energize themselves and to keep on working and doing their manual work. So a lot of drugs are abused. And you'll be surprised to find out that apart from the normal 50 milligram medication, we have 250, 500 being important to the country. But I can assure you, anywhere we locate this, we'll seize them.
Now, what other measures would you consider are necessary to reduce the spread of this abuse?
I think one of the things we need to do is to engage our young ones on a continuous basis, strengthen homes, partner with civil society organizations. We're partnering with the entertainment industry, the National Orientation Agency we're partnering with. So it's going to be a multi-sectoral type of collaboration because we can't do it alone in the health sector.
All right, Professor Adewale, I would like to thank you for finding time to be part of this program. And it's a very, very important topic that we have to treat.
I quite agree with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale. He's also a medical doctor. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you.
All right, don't go away because we'll return in a moment.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Experience, they say, is the best teacher.
They hold us from the sea. Thank God that we came back home. They should not go there because it's not good. It's a very bad place. So they just may have us.
Even now, sir, if they are shooting the boat they are going to use to go Italy, may they stop it. Our country is good. Our country is a blessed country. Now I know our country is a blessed country. I know before I for not travel from Nigeria to Libya. I know how much I spent.
Let these personal experiences serve as a lesson to all who would repeat their mistakes. A word is enough for the wise.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Now, let's join Olumide Eguntola for sports update.
As part of efforts to improve Team Nigeria's performance at national and international assignments, the Nigeria Olympic Committee and the Olympic Solidarity, in a seminar held in Lagos, have trained medical personnel attached to Sports Federation on the rudiments of protecting the health of athletes.
We're trying to get them to do more for them so that we can get the best out of the athletes that are competing for Nigeria and in Nigeria.
Our own role is to take out all the encumbrances, all the things that will make healing difficult.
The Lagos State Invitational Open Water Swimming Competition, which held at the Lagos Regatta Village, saw excited spectators throng the venue to watch the swimmers in the open water. Over 60 swimmers who registered were put through trials, and the final 9 were selected, out of which only 6 competed in a 3 to 5 kilometer open water swimming.
Swimming on its own is a very expensive sport because of the facilities involved. We need more sponsors to move this sport to the next level.
Williams Bekemeye, the soldier who won the triathlon championship last weekend, proved his mettle in the water again, finishing in a time of 6 minutes 12.68 seconds. And in handball, about 60 secondary schools in Lagos State will be vying for honours at the 4th Okpefa handball competition, which begins on Monday at the Road Park, Lagos.
I am actually looking forward to discovery of talent.
The last match of the 2017-2018 EPL season comes to an end Sunday, with all matches to be played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. With sports updates, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
The President General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammad Saad Abubakar, commiserates with the Christian Association of Nigeria over the death of its Secretary General, Dr. Musa Idowu Asake. In a statement by the Secretary General of the Council, Professor Isaac Oloyede, His Eminence Muhammad Saad Abubakar described Dr. Asake as a foremost religious leader whose contributions to nation building are worthy of note. He sympathizes with Christian Association of Nigeria and prays that God grants the family of the late Dr. Asake the fortitude to bear the loss. Until his death, Dr. Musa Idowu Asake was an active member of the Nigerian Inter-Religious Council. But just to inform you that we'll be joining Ado Ekiti for the live transmission of the results of the APC governorship election primaries after the program. And now, let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow.
Welcome to the weather forecast from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. I am Hisa Helinwe. It was a wet Saturday, and this was due to a robust moisture layer, which gave so much rain. Such rains are characterized by flash floods, so we urge motorists to be careful when driving and the general public to keep drains free so as to minimize destructive effects of flooding. We are not in the clear yet. Rains are still likely till Tuesday morning. For Sunday, we'll expect morning rains over parts of the inland areas. A mixture of rains and thunderstorms around the southeast coast and the northeast, extending to Kano axis. In the afternoon and evening hours, we'll expect moderate to light rains over every part with some thunderstorms and very cool temperatures expected. Next is temperature forecast. Thank you for watching and bye for now.
And that's our program for today. We thank you for investing your time with us today. Do that again next week when we return with a fresh edition of the program. From all of us here, good night.